Engaging citizens, a game changer for development.
Governments across the world grapple with providing quality public education. Here in Tanzania, as well as in neighboring Kenya and Uganda, there has been a huge increase in enrollment into primary and secondary schools in recent years. But are our children learning?
We have found that children in grade 3 cannot pass a grade 2 test. This diagram is based on data collected from Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, and only 29% of the children in grade 3 passed the numerous test. And in literacy, it was only 25% of children in grade 3 who could pass a literacy test of class 2. People may say it's okay, they will catch up later, but looking at class 7, we only found that 20% of class 7 children were not able to pass a test of grade 2 level. This shows that there's really a problem, because if a child in class 7 cannot pass a grade 2 test, that is a serious problem in terms of providing children with a quality education.
So we thought of coming up with large-scale evidence that no one could contest, and use communication, robust communication, to get this out to the public, to parents, to teachers, to policymakers, so that people may first of all understand that the levels of learning are low. We thought that people would take this up and take actions, and we theorized that it was the sum of these actions from parents, from teachers here, from policymakers there, that would create the necessary pressure to change and influence the education system.
Uwezo is a learning assessment to understand whether all children between 6 and 16 can read and do math at grade 2 level. It examines what skills children are actually gaining in school. The assessment is huge, second only to the census in each of the 3 countries. In 2012, Uwezo assessed 343,000 children and collected data from more than 10,000 schools in 362 districts across Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. The sample is so large that the data allow for comparison between different areas or districts within each country.
When it comes to our processes, the government participates from the beginning, from generating the samples of the villages that we go to and schools, done by the National Bureaus of Statistics, developing tests that is done by governments, experts from the ministry, from the curriculum institutes, from the examination institutes. The participation that we have created in Uwezo for even government officers to come in has really also built confidence, because everyone knows that Uwezo is a participatory process. Anyone can come in and check and participate, because improving learning is about everyone, not just Uwezo and Taweza.
The assessment is carried out by young local residents volunteering as citizen researchers.
Asante. Mama, mimi naitwa Mwanja Idi. Natokea Uwezo.
They don't necessarily have previous research skills or experience, but they are trained for their assessment.
Tujue wanachokisoma watoto wetu shuleni wanaelewa.
Many people like fish. It is good food.
Many of the volunteers are highly motivated and see the assessment as an opportunity to contribute to improving education in their communities.
In Uganda, when we released the findings, one of the volunteers agreed with the mother that their sitting room could become a reading room for children in the village. And they started a Sunday afternoon program, which is running even now.
Serikali kama serikali ilitakiwa iwape kipaumbele walimu, kwa sababu walimu ndo kila kitu. Yeye rais ametokea wapi? Si alifundishwa na mwalimu ndo akafikia kule aliko.
These citizen researchers are overseen by district coordinators who are members of staff at local partner organizations.
Jina langu mimi ni Eliab Maganga. Nimeshiriki katika Uwezo kama mratibu wa wilaya, na katika wilaya ya Ilala, mkoa wa Dar es Salaam, nimekuwa na mitaa 30 na shule pia 30 ziliweza kufikiwa. Jukumu langu kubwa kama mratibu wa wilaya ilikuwa ni kuchagua watafiti wa kujitolea, volunteers, na kuwafanyia mafunzo, lakini pia kusimamia ukusanyaji wa taarifa ngazi ya serikali ya mtaa, ngazi ya shule na ngazi ya kaya. Nilikuwa na volunteer 60. Kila eneo lilitembelewa na volunteer wawili, mvulana na msichana. Na hao volunteer tuliwachagua kutoka kwenye maeneo yao wanayotoka, kwa sababu Uwezo ni wananchi, na tunaposema ni wananchi tulihitaji ushiriki wa wananchi au vijana kutoka kwenye jamii hiyo kushiriki katika Uwezo.
Tukianza na la kwanza la Kiswahili, amefanya vizuri tu, Aisha ameweza kusoma.
Parents are given immediate feedback on their children's performance so that the shock of the low levels of learning might prompt them to get more involved, visit the children's school, engage with the teachers, or participate more in school management committees.
The mass movement that we had envisaged is happening slower, but then the aid can be seen because with the investment now there is more dialogue about what ought to be done for our assistants. The media have owned it, and really they have become our great friends. Everyone believes that this message should go out. The fact that children are completing the primary cycle without having acquired the foundational skills of literacy and numeracy. We have made strides over the 4 years, launching the Uwezo report, Our Children Learning Every Year. And so we celebrate this achievement in that there is more focus now in concentrating, acknowledging that there is less learning, but also knowing that if we work together, really, we can bring about change.
We expected that parents, citizens, would really shout and march and, pressure the government to do something seriously and strongly. That did not happen as per our expectations.
Parents are not as active as anticipated. They are already aware that children are not learning in school. In fact, they do not expect them to be. Whatever private action they could take, they were often already doing.
Mikutano tunaenda, na tukishaenda pale kwenye mikutano wanasisitiza sana hiyo tuition. Lakini kwa masomo kama hayo wenyewe wanakuambia watoto darasani ni wengi. Kwa hiyo mwanao hataelewa. Kama hutaki wewe mzazi, wewe mwenyewe. Sisi hatukulazimishi wanavyokuambia. Sisi kama wazazi hatuna nguvu. Kama ndio hivyo vimekuja vyombo kama hivyo ndio vitatuweza kutusaidia ni sisi wazazi. Sababu sisi hatuna nguvu kwa wale walimu.
Na kama unamchukua mtoto na muelimisha tu, sio kumpiga.
Over the 4 years, we have done this. We have communicated widely. We have used the mass media. We have used parents' meetings. We have gone through the teachers' networks. We have talked to everyone, basically, that we could talk to. We have incidences of where people hear, in a few cases, and they do something. People call me and tells me, you are saying children are not learning, so what are you saying we should do? And conversation begins. So we have instances where dialogue has begun.
Kwa kweli lengo hasa la Uwezo na tathmini hii ya kitaifa ilikuwa ni kuamsha ari ya jamii kuhusu kuangalia kiwango cha elimu cha watoto wao, kwamba aliwezaje kuvuka darasa la pili bila kujua kusoma na kuandika. Mzazi alikuwa anakagua kweli, angepaswa ajue hilo mapema, lakini baada ya kufanya utafiti wa Uwezo ndio anashtuka. Hii ni changamoto sana.
There is a lot of tension. Teachers are feeling cornered because everyone is looking at them when learning is not happening. Parents are feeling helpless because if they go to schools and they complain, their children may be victimized. The government feels cornered because a lot of investment is going into the public system and yet they cannot account for it in terms of outcomes.
Wangapi kwa kuna laptop?
Traditionally, information was a secret, even about education, which should be a public thing. What we did as Uwezo was to get information that is useful to everyone, and we let it out to everyone. And the fact that parents knew now about learning outcomes, teachers knew, and everyone else knew, neighbors knew that children are not learning, created first of all a lot of insecurity from the custodians of data and custodians of information. But when they realized that actually information is out and people are talking about it, and that it was actually not as threatening as they thought at the beginning, then they warmed up to the idea that we can talk openly about the challenges facing our education. We can meet around the table because it's not one person to blame.
We did not spark a citizens' movement around education, but through the careful collection of rigorous evidence from thousands of children, through volunteers and community-based partners, combined with mass communication on their results, we were able to fuel national dialogue.
Previously, we were talking about children are not learning, the quality is poor and this, but where is the evidence? But for us, we feel that we have generated this evidence-based information, which gives people confidence to demand, to talk about the quality of learning in Tanzania, because they have a reference. Whoever questions, they have, oh, look, this is Uwezo report. This is what it shows. So I'm not lying.
Uwezo is a call to action. We use evidence to convince everyone that learning outcomes are low across East Africa. We use communication to tell everyone that we have all a role to play to improve our education.